everyone, welcome back to my channel.
Have to try harder than you fight. You might be lost like sunshine in the night.
Well, if you're seeing this face for the first time, welcome to the family. Make it official by hitting the subscribe button and also give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section to introduce yourself so the rest of the family can get to know you. Let's also interact on social media. I am K2Tiara on Instagram and I'm also K2Tiara on Twitter. Well, today's video, I'll be sharing with you guys how I ended up with a $20,000 hospital bill as an au pair, or plus minus 300,000 rands. Yo. And how I went through similar procedure in Korea, and guess how much it cost? Well, keep watching to find out. Guess what? It's story time. So get your popcorns, get your coffee, get your wines, your champagnes, get what you need because it's about to go down. So this is what happened. My first year as an au pair, I was still in Connecticut. And, I had worked my hours for that week, my 45 hours. It was a Friday evening. We were just done having dinner with my family, my host family. And my host mom was like, hey, K2, do you have any plans this evening? And I'm like, no, actually, I'm staying in. And she's like, a friend of ours just invited us for dinner. Would you mind just hanging out with the kids for a couple of hours while we are away? Like, take your time, have fun, we good here. So my host mom and his husband left, so I stayed home with the kids. I put the baby down for the night, watched the movie with the two older kids, and then I was not feeling okay. So after we watched the movie, I put them down to sleep, and I just decided, you know what, while I wait for my host parents, let me just go hang out in the TV room and just watch TV so that when they come in, they don't wake me to be like, hey, we back, So I just stayed in the TV room and watched whatever. Couple of hours later, they show up. I gave them an update as to how the evening went, and then I was like, you know what, I don't feel well. I'm just gonna go to bed. They're like, enjoy yourself, have a good night. Went to bed, woke up. Now it's Saturday. Wake up on Saturday, I'm still feeling really terrible. It definitely had something to do with me being a woman, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it was like the most terrible cramps ever. So I stayed in bed that day. My host family went out for a party. They were out the entire day. And Saturday passed. Now, Sunday, I had plans with a friend of mine. We were supposed to go out shopping for gifts because I was about to go to South Africa in like a couple of weeks to visit, and she was about to go to Mexico for a couple of weeks as well to visit. So we were busy buying gifts for our families, and I was like, oh, let me just go. Although I was feeling so horrible, we went to do this shopping, came back, went in, and I was still in pain. So throughout the night, I was still in pain. I had a couple of pills on me and I would just take a painkiller once in a while, whatever. During the night, I couldn't sleep. This is now Sunday night. I couldn't sleep. I was in so much pain. And I checked the time. It's like 2 a.m. I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't even wake my host mom. Like, I thought maybe I should wake them and tell them to take me to the hospital because that was the worst pain I've ever felt. I thought I was dying. Like, I was legit dying. I'm telling you. And I'm like, should I wake them? And I'm like, but she's going to work in a couple of hours. Let me just let her sleep. I'll wake her. Like, let me just wait for her to wake up. Because she wakes up between 5 and 6 a.m., I think. Let me just wait it out. Popped in another pill. And I was tossing and turning. I couldn't fall asleep. Then finally, just a little bit after 4 a.m., I couldn't anymore. I called her. I'm like, I'm in pain. Like, I'm in serious pain. I don't know what's going on. I think I need to go to the hospital. She's like, oh, our family doctor is going to open. The doctor opens at 9, so we'll take you in the morning. They came to my room. They gave me a bottle of painkillers. They like, just pop this every 4 to 6 hours. If you need them, just take them. Then they went to bed. Still tossing and turning, checking the time, tossing and turning. So just before 9, my host mom's dad, so the kid's grandfather, came so that he could stay home with the baby. Then my host dad took me to this family doctor. We got there, next room, and they were like, hey, how are you? What's the matter? I'm like, oh my gosh, I have abdominal pain. It is intense. I'm telling you, something is going on. It felt like burning. It felt like someone was pouring acid down my stomach. It was horrendous. They're like, okay. They touched my stomach a little bit, and then they were like, we need a poop sample. Poop sample. I'm like, for me, I didn't understand what my poop would tell them, because that pain felt like they need something like an x-ray or like an ultrasound to see why there's pain. And I'm like, I don't know if poop will help in this instance, but okay. So the doctor, if was she a doctor or a nurse, whatever she was, she prescribed some medicine for me. So my host dad and I went to buy this medicine, and then I went home. Later that day, I gave them the sample, and then the feces, and then my host dad drove it to the hospital. Yo, imagine. Okay, so now that Monday, my host dad was like, you know what, just go and rest. Obviously you're not feeling well, it's fine, just go and rest. But the entire time I'm thinking, I need to go to the hospital. Now, second night, this is Tuesday night now. I was in so much pain that at some point I prayed and I asked God, I'm like, God, if you have to take me right now, just do that. Because I cannot handle this pain anymore. It was horrible. So in the morning, my host dad comes and says, K2, how you feeling today? I'm like, man, no different. Like, I need to see an actual doctor. I need to go to the ER or something. He's like, listen, today I'm going to need you to kind of stay with the baby, because I took a day off yesterday. Today I have a meeting that I've scheduled like long time ago that I cannot cancel. So I really need you to stay with the baby. Look, I did everything for her. All you need to do is just to watch her. You don't need to do much. I'll be back in like a few hours. It's like, okay. Stayed with the baby. Then eventually the pain became 10 times more. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, I didn't think it could get any worse, but it did. And then I took the baby, I put her in her crib, and I'm like, you know, when she's here, she's safe. There's no way she could go anywhere where she'll be in danger. So I'll just watch her from her chair while she's in her crib. And I called my host mom. I'm like, look, the pain is worse than it has ever been, and I never thought it could get worse. I need to go to the hospital. She's like, okay, my husband is on his way home, and I'm also on my way home, so I'll take you there when I get home. I'm like, cool. My host dad gets home like half an hour later. He takes the baby. I go to my room. I'm trying to wait for my host mom. She got home. We went to another doctor, not like a hospital, like a medical center type of facility. We got there a little after 5 or after 6. When we got there, there were like maybe 2 people in front of us. Then eventually they called me in and they wanted a pee sample. I'm like, here we go again. Gave them a pee sample, and they were like, they touched my abdomen a little bit, and then they were like, they can't really tell what's wrong unless they do an ultrasound, but the ultrasound department is closed. It closes at 5, I think they said, or at 6, they said. So we just missed it. Like, you have to come tomorrow. My host mom was like, do you want to come tomorrow? I'm like, there's no way I'm sleeping again with this pain. Like, no way. We're going to the hospital now. She's like, okay, let's just go to the ER. That was really the last place she wanted to be, because she's like, the ER, all kinds of people come there. You could go there with a simple cold and leave with something more serious. So she just didn't want to go to the ER. But we ended up at the ER, got admitted. The pain had intensified at this point. I'm like, what's going on? When we got there, eventually they got me into a room, and then they're like, what's wrong? I told them. They took blood sample, and then they gave me morphine. It was the first time I ever had a shot of morphine. The happy state I was in after that morphine, I'm telling you, the pain was immediately gone. After that, I got admitted. They did, like I said, a blood sample. They couldn't find anything. They did an x-ray, nothing. They did a CT scan, found nothing. they did an ultrasound and they were not sure. So they're like, let's do a pap smear. Did a pap smear and dun 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 dun. They came back and they're like, you have an ovarian cyst. I'm like, huh? What's that? So I think the simplest way I can explain an ovarian cyst, I'll say it's kind of like a pimple, like a sore on your ovaries. And they went on to explain that a lot of women actually get these, but because they don't know they're there, because sometimes you don't feel any pain or anything like that. Usually you will feel pain if the cyst bursts, or if, I don't know, it just becomes inflamed, and then you'll start to feel some pain. And sometimes they come and go, they disappear on their own, but other times you will need surgery to remove it. So they're like, we're going to give you about 3 months, come back after 3 months so that we can check if the cyst is gone or if it's still there. If it's still there, then we will remove it surgically. Luckily, after that, there was no more pain, nothing. I went to South Africa, came back to America, went to check a couple of weeks later, and it was not there. No more pain whatsoever. And then for some reason, my agency, like the hospital, when they tried to forward my information to the insurance company, I don't know what was wrong with the insurance company's details. They couldn't find them, so they forwarded the bill to me. I couldn't believe when I saw those numbers. And I took my currency converter. I'm like, and it's giving me this in rands. I'm like, yo. Claps once. I'm bankrupt at this point. Like, it's gonna take me years and years just to pay this back. What's going on? Like, what is this? And then I realized that I got that bill because they didn't send it to the insurance. It was supposed to go to the insurance, not come to me. So, my gosh. Luckily, everything was straightened out. I only had to pay the first doctor that I went to, co-payment. It's like a levy in South Africa. And then the second one, I went to like another co-payment. And the third, the ER, I also had to pay a co-payment there. So I ended up paying about 100 and something for the 3 hospitals, the co-payment, which I was really mad about. I was mad at my host parents because I'm like, the 2 hospitals were unnecessary. The first doctor and that medical center, they were unnecessary. I told them from day one, take me to the hospital. They didn't want to. Now I'm paying this extra money that I shouldn't be paying. But nonetheless, that's what happened. So fast forward a few years later, this year, a couple of weeks ago, I'm home. I'm going through a medical thing. I ended up being picked up by an ambulance. I end up in hospital, the ER once again in Korea. And they literally did the same test, except in Korea, they didn't do the ultrasound. They just went straight for the pap smear. They did the CT scan, blood test, urine test. They did the pap smear. And do you know how much that was? Drum roll, please. 210,000 Korean won, which amounts to about 3,000 rands. Can you believe it? That I literally went through the similar test in America and in Korea, and the difference in payments. Guys, the American health system is insanely expensive from what I learned from this situation. Otherwise, that's my story for how I ended up with a big medical bill in America. Once again, if you've seen this face for the first time, don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends to tell their friends, neighbors, cousins, and everyone you know about this channel. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Do check out my other videos on my channel. I have videos that talk about how to be a teacher in Korea. I have videos that talk about how to be an au pair in America, or how to be a waitress in America, or really other job opportunities around the world. Just go through my channel. Do check the description box for more information. Once again, thank you so much for tuning in. This girl loves you. It is all love from me to you.